So the next step after pre-purchase planning is the actual purchasing. So often this can be combined together, and it is for simple things. But as your product gets bigger and you're dealing especially in B2B, the actual purchase, someone at the end of the day has to close the deal. They have to get the contract signed. They have to get the purchase order back from the customer. And that's this process here.
And Bill, what are some of the complexities of this component? It sounds so straightforward. All right, you've done all the planning, the customer loves the product, well, purchase.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can do all this logical stuff right up to the end, but now we have to get the deal signed. And this could be an emotional part. And sometimes people aren't comfortable asking other people for the order and getting that last bit, now I need the letter. I need you to sign a letter to give it to me. So this is where sales really comes into play. And so I separate it out. It's a logical but also an emotional dimension that needs to be done here. So the next component is installation. And often people say, hey, this is done. We got the order. Oh no, you just have an order. We now need to make the customer happy, install the product, because if we don't, we're not going to get paid. So now we go through the installation process and make sure that that is smooth. And that process will then allow us to move into the next component. The next component is to get paid. To close the loop here on the product, we need to get cash. Cash is the oxygen that allows our organization to continue to exist. If we don't have cash, just like if a body doesn't have oxygen, it will die. So to get the whole customer acquisition process, we need to have them install it, and then they need to pay for it.
And Bill, what's the difference between your component which you call purchasing and the component which you call pay? Seems like the same sign.
Well, in some senses it can be. In a consumer situation, if I walk into the store and I want something and I purchase it, I pay for it.
Yeah.
However, in business, it's a big difference between when I sign an agreement and when I pay for it. In some countries, that could be, in Italy, that could be a year. Here in the United States, it could be 45 days. That is a big difference. And often,
because you need to survive during that time when seemingly you have the deal, but you don't have the cash.
Absolutely. And this is what we're going to talk about later, is there's some business models where you could get them to pay up front.
Yeah.
If I have a subscription model, they can pay me up front for a magazine, and then I can deliver the magazine later. But understanding when you're going to get paid is important. And the assumption here, to your right, is that you could get purchasing and you could get paid at that point. But I break it out functionally that you could have a purchasing agreement, and then you could have an installation, which could be different, and then I could have a getting paid for it, which is after that as well. And that often is 30 days later or 45 days later. But you're right, in some circumstances, I can purchase it, I can install the product, and I can get paid all in the same moment if I buy it, especially in a consumer. But just like with the decision-making unit, where the economic buyer, the end user, and the champion could all be the same person, I want to split this up functionally so we understand, what is installation and what is payment, because that will help us break down this for all the situations and not just be in that one unique situation where they're all the same. So now we've just gone through the customer acquisition process, but there's one more part that I want to talk about, and that is getting the customer who will buy more product. Because often people think, I already have a customer, let's go find another customer. But if you can upsell your existing customer, understand if they bought one of your product, will they buy another of your product? That can be the most efficient and effective customer you could have. So when you look through this decision-making process, what does it take for them to buy more of it? And by the way, within that, you also are going to look at what will it take for them to tell other people about how great your product is. So that would cover the entire customer acquisition process, decision-making process. And now you can see the similarities to the full life cycle use case. This knowledge is pure gold for you, and we're going to use it as we move on to the following steps. So I would encourage you to take time and understand what each one of these functionalities are. And even if they're the same and you don't think they're important for this specific time in this specific place, maybe as you start to understand your customer more, your next company, these functionalities will be critically important to make you a master entrepreneur, and that's our goal.